Hey, May the 29th. Lake level, they finally got it down to normal summer pool. It's right at 917. Looks like they shut the generation off last night for 4 or 5 hours and started a little bit of generation back up. But we're actually in really good shape. I feel sorry for all the lakes around us. I mean, it's really crazy, a lot of the flooding that's going on. But we're right at normal summer pool, and it's raining right now and probably going to rain some more tonight. Hopefully we don't get a whole bunch and the lake will stay pretty normal level. But the water temperature's 72 to 77 degrees. A lot of good things happening. I mean, the topwater bite has been really good in spots. Catching them on a lot of different topwater baits. There's still a good shad spawn going on first couple hours of the morning. And if you can find them, if you can find where they're spawning. But as catching fish on jigs, a lot of the fish, I think, are done spawning. A lot of them are starting to move out and, feed pretty regular and fatten up to seem like the fish are getting, a lot of them ones, them smallmouths that were 16, 17 inches long that were pretty lean and the same as the largemouth, feeding up and getting a lot chunkier since they've spawned. So a lot of stuff is starting to move out on offshore structure. I'm starting to get some good bites on humps and ridges. I've been in the river arm some. Now, this past weekend, we caught some really good ones flipping in the bushes. But at the lake level at 917, there's not a whole lot of bushes that have got the right water depth. There is some, and there's still fish in them, especially where they pull the water out of the bushes. If you can find, a few bushes or trees with 2 or 3 foot of water on them, there'll be a fish in them. But there's not too many of them left. Before when the water was higher, you had to go back in and flip everything. Now it's just, kind of the outside bushes, because as they pull the water out of the bushes, the fish are pulled back with them. As far as topwater bait, it's really been hard for me to pattern and go to the right spot first thing in the morning. Sometimes, some days I get the right spot, some days I don't. I mean, they're not coming up real consistent in certain areas. It just seems like I'm having to cover a lot of water, but a lot of the key is I got to find where the shad is spawning. And, this time of year, you want to keep a topwater bait on the deck all year, because like right now, it's clouded up right before we come in. And, they'll bite that topwater all day long if you get in the right area. And a lot of times, you just need to be out there fishing a jig or something else, keep that topwater handy, and if you start seeing some fish surface or some bait activity, start throwing that topwater. Now with my Garmin, with my Panoptic live scope, a lot of times I can actually see the fish or see the bait, so I don't necessarily have to see them coming up on the surface. Then you can throw over the top of them or, catch them on a swim bait. There's just so many different baits that we've been catching them on. Now in the topwater, I've been throwing a lot of different baits. Throwing a walking bait like a spook. This is a Strike King Sexy Dog. Yellow Magic, a pop auger, like a pop auger will work. A Strike King Splash It. Strike King Wake Shad's working real good. And also like either a jointed thunder stick or a jointed redfin or a storm jointed thunder stick. That's what this one here is right here. Now, it just all depends. You kind of got to let the mood of the fish tell you what they want. But if they're not coming up real aggressively, it seems like that redfin or the Strike King Wake Shad is working real good. If you got a little bit of chop on the water and the fish are actually busting, they're a lot more aggressive. Seems like the walking bait of the pawpaw or something making a lot of noise. But like I say, if it's pretty slick and they seem like they want something subtle, the redfin's working about the best. And also something is you throw a fluke out there, just a weightless fluke in the same places. Now I'm also throwing an underspin still out there and swim baits. A lot of the swim baits, I'm either throwing a scrounger head, or this one here is a 3.8 on a 3/8 ounce, just a ball head jig head that I make. And when they go down and you can't catch them up on top, if you can see how deep the fish are, you can drop that bait down to 6, 8, 10 feet or whatever, and just slow roll it, just like you do on a spinnerbait, through them. Now, some of the fish have been coming up on, traditional places like a bluff end or channel swings. A lot of them have been coming up on gravel flats we'll be out there fishing either a Ned rig, which is still biting a Ned rig and stuff real good, and a shaky head. I've gone to a little bit heavier Ned head, like maybe a 3/16 or a quarter, where a lot of the fish are, moving back out. There are still a lot of fish dead shallow, but I'm finding the majority of them moving out, and I'm getting a better bite out there in that 20-foot range, either on a jig, shaky head, or Ned rig. But anyways, a lot of times I'll be out there on a flat, we'll be fishing a jig, and you'll start seeing some bait or some topwater activity. Have that topwater bait handy. Up in the river, I'm finding a few places that the fish are starting to get on drops and structure. Now the water's still quite a bit dirtier up here. The upper river is clean, but the mid-river seems to be about the dirtiest because they've been pulling so much water. Now if we don't get any more rain, another 4 or 5 days, the majority of like the James and Long Creek will have a nice pretty color to it. The topwater bite hasn't been as good up there for me in that stained water. I think, the best topwater bite has been in the clear water, whether you're down by the dam, Baxter, Campbell Point area, Kimberling. Even the drop shot bites, if you guys were watching the MLF last week, you seen there was one on a drop shot. But I'm starting to catch some fish out there in a drop shot, 22 to 30 feet. And actually, yesterday we were out messing around in front of a dock, and I seen one down there at 50 foot and dropped the bait down. He come up and ate it about 25 or 30. So that's something that's going to really start coming into play as well. Another deal I hadn't even talked about is a flutter spoon. Now, anytime you've got them fish surfacing and they're on that shad spawn, flutter spoon, either, like a half-ounce Dixie Jet. I throw a white one a lot, and I'll just try to get it to the depth that I think the fish are and just kind of yo-yo it up and down, through the shad and underneath them. But, that's a bait that's going to work good for the next month or so. As well as the topwater and the swim baits. And, this time of year I start upsizing my swim baits. I don't catch as many fish on some of the bigger ones, but I will throw a, 4-inch, even a 5-inch swim bait. Now, numbers of fish, I think if you still get up on the bank, you'll catch a lot more numbers of fish, but I'm finding my better qualities, still catching some good, 2.5 pound fish, up there real shallow some mornings on a jig or topwater, or if I'm flipping. But majority of my keeper fish, after that topwater bite or after 9 o'clock or so, I'm having to get out a little bit deeper in that 20, 25 foot range. And it seems like every day there's getting to be, more and more of them out there. Most of the lake is pretty moss free. There's some areas down by the dam that if you get around some timber or brush piles, still got a lot of moss in them. But the jigs I've been throwing a 9/16 jig, and it seems like, we're catching them on several different colors, but day in and day out, the green pumpkin orange seems to be working best. I'm using different trailers, like this is a Strike King Rage Craw, baby Rage Craw, but like a Zoom Speed Craw will work, a Twin Tail Chompers, even a Pocket Chunk, something with some leg action, Seems to be working good. A lot of them fish that are moving out on structure, I'm noticing more and more crawdads, in their gullet. A lot of the fish that are feeding early are, belching shad. So they're feeding on both shad and crawdads, pretty heavy. At Sportsman Factory Outlet, their Memorial Day sale is going to continue until this Saturday. So you can go to, I think, Table Rock Lake Fishing. We've got a flyer up there. They've got all kinds of different things on sale and special promotional discounts going. But it looks like the MLF guys are going to be back here this week. I mean, they really showed out last week as far as the number of fish that this lake has. It's incredible. They really hit it good. I think this next tournament, or they have this next week, I think you're going to see the size and the quality go up a little bit more. Maybe not quite as many numbers, but I think you're going to start seeing some bigger fish. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.